Thank you for joining us again with Moss Talks, where we have more conversations and more culture. I'm Joel, co-founder, creative director for Moss Magazine.
I'm Sydney, co-founder and editorial director of Moss Magazine.
Sydney, growing up, we always we were as kids, we saw a lot of shows. We saw a lot of movies being made, especially with Disney, Pixar, Disney Channel, Cartoon Network. Are there any shows that really stood out to you as a kid that you really reminisce on?
Well, I was a Disney kid, so That's a Raven is my number one show of all time.
Hmm.
Proud Family, of course. I liked Even Stevens. I liked Lizzie McGuire. I
Yeah,
liked Hannah Montana when I got older. I didn't like it at first because I was very much into That's So Raven.
yeah.
I was really more so like I watched Disney way more than Nickelodeon. I didn't watch Nickelodeon until I was probably like in fourth or fifth grade,
Hmm.
because it was a little growner on that side.
I would say, even though I like That's a Raven, like as look, my sister likes to watch a lot of That's so Raven whenever we had an opportunity to have a TV. So when she watched it, like it was something for her, and I was like, whenever she would go about her business or whatever, I was always trying to find something for me. And so at the time, it was Corey's house. So
Oh,
I said, yeah, as a young black man, I had to find something that was kind of catered to me in a way.
what did you look like? The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
They they weren't from my demographic.
Oh my God, I love them boys.
I
What?
love I love them too. I watched them to this day. But I'm just saying they weren't for me. Like they didn't have the same issues I did. And like the banter wasn't really the same. Like the household banter wasn't the same for me.
Oh, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. They were in a hotel
I mean,
and
yeah. I
causing
mean,
chaos.
they had a great show. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna deny that. I'm not gonna say that I know I don't watch it. I will watch it to this day. Honestly, I watch it over Corey's house, but it's just for the demographic sake.
Okay, so what movies were you into as a kid?
We always had the VHS tapes. You know the orange VHS tape. You know what the movie that is?
Something Nickelodeon.
It's the Rugrats.
Oh,
I'll say we had that. I really like the animations from Prince of Egypt. What's the other one? There's another one. Even though I watched Emperor's New Groove when I was a kid, but I didn't remember it, so I rewatched it recently. I would say there are some movies, but I really can't think of them because I really love like animations all together.
I liked The Lion King. That was
Hmm.
my favorite movie of all time. I rewatched it so many times, and I had it. I think I had it on VHS tape, and it was blue. And I remember the day the like tape came out of it. I was so sad. But
That's
now I have
that's
all three of them on DVD.
I say that's a different type of heartbreak when the VHS tapes break, like when it just or like when the DVD scratches. It's just it's I guess it's just a realization. It's like, all right, it's time.
Yeah, I have a lot of DVDs that I've scratched. I used to play them all the time.
I say, yeah, I was like, mine was High School Musical. That one got played a lot.
You have that on DVD?
Yeah, I played. There's so many scratches. It just looks like a wall now. It's no longer a mirror. It looks like a wall.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one.
I had the second one on DVD
The first one.
with
I
the
think
sing along version.
I think that shouldn't have had no sequels. The first one was better as is. Yeah, yeah. Hot take.
That
The
is a
first
hot take because the
the first
second
one
one
was
is really good and the third one is a cinematic
the
masterpiece.
first one was good as is. That what they should have done it to monetize is better. They should have followed the main character. Like that didn't Sharpay did Sharpay get a movie? I don't think she did.
Yeah, she got a movie.
Okay, I was about to say. I'll say if she didn't, I might need to watch that now. But
It wasn't good.
oh, never mind.
I loved her.
I
She
mean,
knew what she wanted.
everybody loves Sharpay, but again, at the end of the day, she was the bully. That's why.
They made her seem like the bully.
No. Not seem. She was point blank. Period. Ain't no gift wrapping this up. She was the bully.
Think about it. Gabriella came in and took a spot that she worked her entire high school career for, and her man.
First, and this is also a good point. I'm glad you bring it up because this is a good point about high school and how the world works. Sometimes talent beats hard work, and that's where singing is one of those categories.
Yeah, but I mean, all of them could sing though.
But who sang better? That's what the point of that little rivalry is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but to me, I feel like they were all pretty much the same level Disney voices. So, you know,
That's not what the band director thought.
And you know, Zach Efron wasn't even singing in the first movie.
Yeah, that was obvious. At 10 years old, I could figure that out.
Oh, I didn't know that until later on.
And plus, like the way he was just doing his, I was like, you gotta chill, bro. I was, I was like, you can barely, like, even from the movie standpoint, I was like, you can barely dribble. Keep it low key. That's another thing that pissed me off about High School Musical. That's why they didn't deserve no. This is why I reserve my opinion on why they didn't deserve no sequels. Because the basketball moves were terrible. Like in general, terrible. And then what was it the opening scene where he met Gabriella and then like she just disappeared and it started snowing. I was like,
That was so beautiful.
I mean, yeah, that was a good opening moment for the movie because like it really encapsulates that feeling of when you meet someone that is attractive or like you're single and you find someone that's like, oh, like they're cool, and then it kind of lingers in your mind, but it's not really openly apparent until you see them again, I guess. So how was life for you as a kid observing?
I mean, I was a very observant kid. I think I'm still like that now because I am very quiet. I don't talk a lot. But like honestly, it goes into like who we're talking to today with Shayna and like her whole series. It's because a lot of the time she just has like a little girl staring at the TV.
Mm.
And like I was very much that kid too. Or like just like watching everything, how it's done, watching people cook, or like just watching like the trees pass by outside or watching bugs in the ground or something. I was just really observant as a kid. I think that's normal because like you're experiencing life for the first. I mean, we always are, but you know.
Yeah, I would say like as a kid. Well, this is just me personally. As a kid, I never really, I would say I was observing, but my observation led to actions, I'd say. Like if I saw a superhero movie, like it's just boy stuff. Like as a boy, you see a superhero movie, don't shake your head. As a boy seeing a superhero, you just like you want to be that person. Like you see Flash, you want to run fast. You see Superman, you want to fly. It's just a matter of being, I guess, because you think as a kid you have this, you're innocent to the world, so you think all these things are possible. And so, like,
Did you ever hurt
even
yourself in these attempts?
no, I did one time, but not like anything crazy. Like, I was never like a daredevil type. I was never like jumping off of high stuff. Like, I jumped off of some things, but nothing like over 6 feet. Let's say that.
Um, isn't 6 feet a lot as a little
6 feet
kid?
is a lot, but it's at a certain age, it becomes. I'll get into that for a second. But I hurt myself one time, so but this is not related to movies or anything like in that space. So my older brother my older brother, he he had talked to me about doing like backflips and all that stuff. Like I've been seeing people do backflips, seeing come in the house like pulling off a chain of backflips. And like then kids at school start doing this. I was like, I want to learn how to backflip. I want to learn how to do this. And so like in my mind, and plus like hearsay, they say like the story that's doing it is kind of like running. Well, at the time, it's kind of like running up something and then pushing your legs off of a wall to kind of give yourself that natural momentum. And so I thought a couch was a good idea, and it was. A couch was a good place to start. Like it's soft, you fall like easily. We fall down, we get up. And so I run up the couch, and like my foot hits the back wall, and I prepare to push myself off the wall. I push myself off the wall. I do a full turn, but where I land was not ideal because like you know how superhero landing is, right? Like where you have your knee and you're like that. Like imagine Spider-Man. Imagine
Yeah,
Spider-Man
yeah.
except not no arm out. So like that. But I where my face landed was not great because my face landed directly between the cushions and my nose started bleeding.
Okay, we're done. I don't do blood. We're done. Guys, today we're speaking with a fun animator, and background artist, and we're gonna explore more about childhood, especially early 2000s childhood, um, with her. So stay tuned.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in to Moss Talks. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Shana Dixon, a talented award-winning filmmaker, animator, and background artist who has worked on various series that span Disney, Cartoon Network, and Hulu. We're diving into animation style and inspirations. Thank you, Shana, for joining us today.
I first want to know what inspired you to create animations about childhood in the early 2000s.
Oh, I think I have a really, I've had a really big nostalgia kick, especially when I moved from home to California because I'm from Jersey. So I'm all the way on the other side of the country by myself. I moved by myself. And even though I have friends and people who care for me over there, I just miss my family. So, I got to thinking a lot about my childhood and how much it just warms my heart. So, that's really the inspiration behind it.
So did you like grow up watching those shows that like you depict in your animations?
Oh yeah, definitely. I made, and it's a long list. I was very much a PBS and Nickelodeon kid.
Hmm.
Yeah, PBS was my favorite though. But yeah, I watched every single show I have animated. Yeah.
I love
I
that.
say
I feel
people,
like PBS is like low key forgotten.
It
yeah,
it
like
is. And they have a lot of like quieter shows, which I
mhm.
like.
As someone who watched a lot of TV as a kid in the 2000s, I see parallels between your influences and your work, like The Proud Family, Happily Ever After. Are there specific shows or movies from that era that shaped your storytelling style?
Oh, for sure. Happily Ever After, A Fairy Tale for Every Child is definitely a huge one. I was obsessed and still am obsessed. I wish I could write musicals because I love a good musical. But Happily Ever After, I wasn't a big Disney kid growing
Mhm.
up. So when it came to princesses and like fairy tales, Happily Ever After, A Fairy Tale for Every Child is what I reference. And every episode they did a different culture for each fairy tale. And I just thought that was so cool. So Cinderella was black and Thumbelina was Latina, and it was so great. And again, I have a lot of influences from the quieter shows. So like Little Bear, Little Bill, Oswald, things that are a lot more calm rather than
Mhm.
in your face.
I definitely see those influences now thinking about like that series. Like it can be like a screensaver in a way. Like it's just very like quiet and calm, observant, and then all of a sudden like you're just kind of like sitting there staring at it, but like thinking about your own childhood and like thinking about the
Yeah.
first time you watched a show or something. So I want to ask, how do you approach creating settings that feel just as alive as the characters?
Well, I think thinking of an environment as a character is the best way to go. You want to think, what do I want to tell? What do I want to portray? So it starts with mood. Is this going to be scary? Is this a lighthearted background? Where is it? What am I trying to say? Is the first thing to think about. And I personally go off of color palettes. So, is it going to be bright? Is it going to be moody? Is it going to be, if it's scary, do I want to use reds and like deep tones? Or am I thinking of something magical with purples and pinks? Yeah, it's all about the story.
A lot of things you talk about, I would say probably just come through instinct, but I say are placed a lot in a lot of harder and soft skills like color theory, like line work, all these different things that like we if you go to college, the college course is going to dive into very deeply, and then like when you meet someone who's done it as long as you have, it's just like it's just instinct, I'd say, which is very which I appreciate a lot because like for example, for a guy, when we go to the barber, like it's to us, it's just like I want number six. Give me number six, the ball fade on the wall. And
Yeah.
then for the barber, it's like I'm creating six lines in your head to make this thing look smooth. And if I don't get these six lines right, it ain't gonna look how I want it to. And so the same thing with illustrating, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I never thought of it like that.
So I'm curious, do you have like a favorite color you like to work with in general, or like what is your favorite color?
Well, I have three favorite colors. I think yellow, pink, and purple, but like a lilac, those are my
Mhm.
favorite colors. But I actually work a lot in yellows, orange, and reds. Very warm tones is what
Mm,
I just gravitate toward those colors. I don't know why,
yeah.
actually. I feel like maybe they fit the nostalgic uh I don't know, when you think of memories, you think kind of in sepia tone where everything
Yeah,
is like washed and orange, and maybe that's why. I don't know.
I say
Oh, yeah.
maybe, yeah,
Hmm.
because
I
it
mean,
feels
that
more
makes
like a dream.
sense.
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
What do you love most about what you do?
Oh my gosh. Well, just recently, what I love most is the comments that I get back. I have gotten so many comments of people saying, this has healed my inner child, and I love your work. It makes me feel some kind of way. I've even had children say, oh, I want to, paint and do art like you. And I'm like, me, I love influencing the community, especially Black women and children. It keeps me going because there are so many times where I'm like, I don't know, is it worth it? Does anyone care? Why do I keep doing this? And then I'll see a little comment and please, you know.
Honestly, yeah, I feel like that's very important. Like as a kid, we talked about this earlier, but as a kid observing the world, seeing people doing things that inspire you or make you want to pursue a certain career is very important. Like especially for Black women in every field, honestly.
The whole reason why I even wanted to go into film and TV was because That's So Raven. And like growing up, like seeing That's So Raven and like Penny Proud on the Proud Family and like knowing there were like Black girls on my screen, I like wanted to kind of like keep that going for like kids of like upcoming generations. So like it's so important to see like people who like us just like doing what they want to do, pursuing it, and like having kids see that too, you know?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that earlier. I was like, I grew up in kind of that like Black TV boom where it was
Mhm.
UPN, One on One, the Parkers, this, that, and the third, and it's kind of diminished recently, and it feels good to be a part of the solution of like bringing those shows back up.
Exactly. Literally, like I think I was probably like in sixth grade and I was like, wait a minute, where, what happened to all of our stuff? And I was like, you know
Right?
what? I'm gonna fix that.
Exactly.
You have worked on some major programming like the Saturdays, Mini Bow Tunes. So I'm kind of curious to know what lessons from those experiences have shaped your personal projects.
You know what? I think the biggest lesson I've learned is that I'm so much better and so much more than I think that I am. I've went into majority of those jobs with huge imposter syndrome. I'm like, I can't believe they picked me. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I was so intimidated. It like being a part of those shows and not only having people teach me, but encourage me and say, hey, you're doing great. You're doing fine. It's really made me a lot more bolder in my own art. I can do everything that I think of and not be afraid to execute it. And knowing that things don't have to be perfect right off the bat. A lot of times I wouldn't even share my art earlier in my career because I'm like, this isn't right. I can't show this. This is going to be on the internet with like professional grade art. But yeah, I'm much better than I think that I am. I don't need to have imposter syndrome.
You are amazing because like
Yes.
I found your series like on TikTok and I instantly was like, oh, screenshot, I'm reaching out to this person. And then like once I found your like portfolio online and I saw your resume, I was like, oh my God, like the talent is off the roof. Like just to see the things you've worked on, like it was just so motivating because like again, like this series is kind of just something like you're doing out of passion and then like but like your resume is just like so well. And I was just like, wow.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. I do have one more question. I kind of want to know where do you see like your series about childhood in the 2000s going? Um, like, do you want to extend it or kind of just keep it as like a recurring series on social media, you know?
Yeah, I definitely want to keep it going because it makes people feel so good and I have so many more memories to share, but I do want to extend it. I have so many ideas that I for not just children but for young adults as well. And I would love a lot of people have been asking for prints and everything. So it's just a lot of different avenues. I have a lot of different ideas, but you know, as for any artist in animation, I would love to have my own animation studio one day. And honestly, with the whole TikTok boom and me getting popular and people saying they love my work, it feels like it could be real. So I guess that would be the ultimate goal.
I know it'll be real. We'll be here, you
Yeah.
know. As
Yeah,
soon as we
we'll
hear
be
Shana
ready.
Dixon opens her animation studio.
Yep.
I'm gonna call y'all up.
Yeah. I have another question too. So this just goes more into the process. I said, do you have like a specific thing you have to do when you're like sitting down to animate? Is it like, are you curling up on the couch with your iPad? Are you sitting at the desk with your whole spread out? Like, what's your go-to area to kind of calm and get those animations done?
When it comes to animating, I like to sit at my desk because I
Mhm.
have all my art and crafting things and like posters from other artists all around my desk area. So it
Mhm.
doesn't feel like work. It just feels like a creative space. And that's where I need to be if I'm going to be animating. Because if I'm on the couch, I'm watching TV. It's not going to happen. So yeah, definitely being at my computer, being in a creative space, that's the best for me.
I say, yeah, I'm with you because if I sit on the couch, I'm not going. The iPad gonna be watching me.
Exactly.
I'm kind of curious then, like, what shows are you into now, or like just like regular shows, but like of course like animated shows or movies, like kind of like what are you watching right now?
I just finished Arcane, and that
Mm,
blew my mind. I love Arcane. I've been trying to go through the list of things that I've missed. So I just finished Umbrella Academy as well, and The Boys. But I think some go-to shows is Sex in the City. I love Sex in the City. And I know a favorite movie of mine is Elmo and Grouchland. I don't know if anybody has seen it, but it is the greatest movie. It just gets me going. It gets me excited for life. That's what I've been watching recently.
I'm
I
about to
love
write that
that.
down.
I also used to be obsessed with Elmo growing up, and I definitely had a few VHS tapes of his.
I love Elmo so much.
I'll say it's always interesting, like when people talk about these shows, because like, well, I didn't grow up with TV,
Mm.
so I am very disadvantaged when it comes to talking about TV shows, and so I'll say I've caught up a lot, but like when people talk about Sesame Street, um, half of the PBS shows, and I'm trying I'm trying my best. I was like, I know something, but is it is it gonna come up right now?
No.
So that was kind of like all of our questions, but we do have another segment that we like to do, and it's a quick fire round. So I'm just gonna ask you a few questions, and you just say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Mm.
So, favorite childhood show,
Happily ever after.
favorite tool or software for animation.
TV Paint.
Mm. Okay, a song that gets the wow, a song that gets the creativity flowing.
Song. Uh I don't know that one.
Okay, it's
I was
okay.
any musical song. I love musicals.
Okay, so dream voice actor for one of your pieces.
Probably Kiki Palmer. Hmm.
A hobby you want to try.
Pottery.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
So we gotta kind of dissect some of these. So tell me more about the software that you use to animate. I don't think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, TV Paint. Yeah, that's what they made us use when I was in college, and it's really good for hand animation. I don't really do puppet, mostly because I don't know how. So for hand animation, yeah, I love TV Paint. I think, well, I got the student version, so it wasn't too much, but I think the professional version is a lot of money. I do
Okay, and then the Kiki Palmer, I love
Yeah.
her.
Hmm.
Why her?
because I love her. Oh man, to have Kiki Palmer be in any animation I do would send me through the roof. She's so animated already,
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
she
so good.
is. Just
Well,
naturally.
I
Yeah,
think she just sang. I think it was with Tori Kelly for Christmas and
yeah.
Kiki.
I didn't know she could
Like
sing like that.
I knew Kiki could sing, but yeah, not like that. Like even if it was Tori Kelly, like we know Tori Kelly can blow. So it's
Mhm.
like Kiki keeping up with someone of that caliber. Like, come on, I need another song, Kiki.
Exactly.
So you said like a musical kind of, gets you in the moment in the groove. What's your favorite musical?
My favorite musical. I think it's a split between Shrek or In the Heights. I love those musicals.
Great
Hmm.
choices. Great
Great,
choices.
yeah.
I was I don't know if I like saw this somewhere or not, but I feel like Shred's soundtrack whoa. Shrek's soundtrack is very impactful to like the actual movie itself and like the storyline. And I feel like it's also like the first soundtrack where a lot of people like notice how music affects, what's going on in the actual like film. Um,
Yeah.
because like again, like I feel like a lot of people like around like our generation, our age, like we're always talking about Shrek and like the music in Shrek, you know.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love Shrek.
Me too.
And like especially like when you uh, to add back to what you said, Sydney, with the soundtrack, like when you hear songs from, I would say, even though some of the songs may not have been made for Shrek, they
Mm.
were put into Shrek. So like when you hear that song now, you don't think of the artist, you think of Shrek. Like that's
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
how impactful that
And
movie was.
I'm a believer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Donkey.
like
All star.
exactly,
Yep.
yeah. And then the my favorite is the I'm all alone. That's not even a song, but it's just like I wish
Gosh.
they made it into a song though. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you again for sitting down and speaking with us and sharing, about your art and what you do, how you got there, your influences. Everyone, please check out Shana Dixon and check
Yes.
out all of her amazing work. Instagram, TikTok, she's doing a thing. And,
Mhm.
keep your ear out because in a few years, we're going to hear about the animation studio. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was an amazing conversation with Shayna.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed. It was so cool to kind of speak with someone who grew up watching the same things. That makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's kind of niche sometimes.
hmm
Like who else watched PBS? Like I loved
I think,
Franklin and Little Bill.
yeah, I think Black families really push PBS to what we know it as it to be. Like, even though it may seem niche to us because like we enjoy these shows, it was very much for us, like, honestly.
Oh yeah, I mean it was free programming and the education was in it too. But
Yeah.
I don't know, like again how she mentioned like those shows are like kind of quiet and I feel like kids, they did like Disney and Nickelodeon because it was so outrageous and crazy.
Yeah.
Whereas like I enjoy like the quiet of it all, and like Oswald, and like they barely talked in that show.
I would say a big difference I'm just now realizing with like those shows, like shows we see now, like Cocomelon, whatever else it may be, like even though those shows like Franklin, they had a very specific, like they were, when you saw it, you knew what it was. Same thing with Cocomelon, you see, you kind of know what it is. And like to me, this is just my personal view. To me, Cocomelon is very like loud, very poppy, I'd say.
Well, it's
I
all like
think,
the sensory stuff, and I feel like babies of this generation are very different from when we were children because
yeah.
of phones and all this technology and stuff. Like they need the sensory to keep themselves engaged. Whereas us, we didn't have all these phones and like blue light and tablets and noise. Like we just had actual toys and we used our imagination. So
Mhm.
like I think it was easier for us to like watch a show like Reading Rainbow and like just get
Yeah.
read to and like kind of get lost in the narration of the story.
Yeah, even when we weren't in front of the TV, it was just a matter of like being outside for 30 minutes or however long it was. Like just I would say as a guy, like you were pushed outside more often. So like you could I guess kind of grow, as parents would say,
Yeah,
and like
but
not be in front of
I think also like our toys were like more physical too.
mm,
Um,
we
growing up,
I'm glad you pointed it out. We had a lot more physical toys, I'd say. Like our toys, I, maybe I haven't been looking at toys recently, but the toys that we had really just felt like I don't like you could put them through a lot. I don't know how else to say it. Like you
not
could,
even like put like well, I'm thinking of like the textures. Like our
mm,
toys were like textured and again, like we had like dolls and like cars and action figures and like I just feel like we were just very like physical and play and then like also like the imagination aspect of it. Like we could like I don't know, like take a book or something, all of a sudden you're a teacher reading to your class.
that's nothing too. I haven't, have you seen The Pursuit of Happiness?
Yeah.
So in Pursuit of Happiness, Will's son Jaden, he has action figure, and like I haven't seen it. This is gonna be ready to tears. I haven't seen a kid in years walk around with an action figure in his hand. Nothing. Like maybe a phone, maybe a tablet. No action figures. Maybe I'll say I think I saw like one kid have a teddy bear, but that was at the house. But that was I haven't seen a kid walking around with the action figure, and that's
It's
something that's something
because
I hope to break.
it's a matter of like yes, like now that, our age, we're gonna be parents, soon or
Hmm.
now. So like it's a matter of like us, putting our foot down and like giving them toys, but it's also a matter of like actually having characters. Like
Hmm.
where's the kids' space in TV and film, like for real,
Yeah.
like who's gonna be their action figures? Like we
Hmm.
gotta like create space for more kid
That's
content, teen content, you know.
that's nothing too. I'm pretty sure they still do this, but when we used to watch a show, there would be action figure out weeks later, and they'd be
Hmm.
advertising the action figure. The kids be like, "Oh, I want the new Superman. I want the new what's that? There's that superhero, Lightning something. That's on the tip of my tongue. I'm gonna think of it later, but he never got an action figure, and I'm gonna think of it later. It's gonna come back to me, but yeah, like looking at TV, seeing this person or his animation, and then having the action figure come out weeks later was it's so slept on.
Yeah.
So slept on.
They don't get that. But hey, who knows with Shanna's new,
Yeah.
animation studio that's gonna obviously happen in a couple of years from now. That could be a
And
thing. We could have more characters to draw from
and
and
then
create toys.
and then another thing, this is also me just yapping. Another thing is like now we have 3D printers. We have these things like we have resin printers, 3D printers, we have all these devices that can make these toys or anything we want to make within a matter of minutes to hours or days or however long it takes. Maybe there are people out there. If I haven't seen anyone making the toys like we used to, like you remember you got a toy, they'll say choking hazard, 3 years old. What happened to that?
I think they still have that. I
They
hope they
probably do.
do.
No, no,
Like,
no, no. They probably still do. Like some of those action figure heads probably pop off. But I'm about to go online and look for action figure now. That's in the back of my mind.
let's bring back Toys R Us. That's the real tea.
That's that true. Well, respectfully, I never had much of a Toys R Us experience. I went like twice.
Oh, me either. I probably went to the store one time, but come Christmas time though, the toys were from Toys R Us. I just
I
never
think
really been in the store.
I think the downfall came when they started putting Xbox and PlayStations in the stores. It
I
was
don't
no
even think it
longer
was that. I think it's just our social media now and the fact that kids look up to teenagers, teenagers look up to adults, and there's no like kid to kid contact, teen to teen contact anymore.
let's see, yeah, and plus like Toys R Us, like people don't realize that Toys R Us also was like a hobbyist store. Because
Hmm.
like you get it's labeled it's primarily for kids, but for those people, those adults that wanted to be hobbyists, like they have model rockets, like you have action figures. That's a form of hobby, and so I think it just kind of like when I think since the marketing kind of fell off to where the generation that had got it loved it, but then when they got older, they realized they stopped playing with toys and they never kind of passed it on.
It's just technology.
Mm, I
It,
guess,
it
but
replaced all our fun. Like technology's so addicting that it replaced, all of our hobbies and things. Now it's just so easy to scroll and it
mm,
sucks.
yeah. Like that's another thing too. Going in the store and like just looking in the toy section, like being a kid pointing up and like, I want that one. Like people do at
Yes.
Carnival. Like that's
No, literally. Or like just like being in the store and your parents are like, okay, we can go to the toy section. You get one
hmm
toy
hmm
and like taking your sweet time and like, oh, do I want?
yeah. And then that anxiety of like you want this, but then your parent, your dad or mom is like they're like, you can get this, but you got to put this back. And you're
Well,
like,
the perks of having a sister close to your age is
mm-mm.
you could convince her to
See,
get
no, no,
the
no.
other thing that you wanted because she would want
That's
to play with it too.
That's nothing to, well, yeah, that too. Yeah, that is added perk because I remember I had one of this yo-yo because at the time when I was growing up, I really loved yo-yoing. And so, but this isn't a parent situation. I was like, I didn't have the money because I'm a kid, like, I can't work. And so my sister bought me this yo-yo. And so speak on siblings. My sister, if you're seeing this, I remember. So speaking on siblings, she bought me the yo-yo, and so like whenever she wanted me to do something, she would like the name of the yo-yo was Duncan. So whenever she'd be like Duncan, 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 I was like, and so like how siblings just hold that I'll say that what do you call it? Just hold it over your head, honestly.
Yeah,
And like
that's
this
what we
this because of
do.
a toy.
That's what we do.
Mm-hmm. But also this is also too. You have your sibling is a girl. You don't have any brothers, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of also as a male figure. Like what are you supposed to do in that point? Like you mean to tell me I'm gonna deny my baby girl a toy, like both of them?
Yeah, my dad has before. You
Oh,
got to be a parent. What?
that's tough. Let me talk to your father. That's messed up.
Sometimes we just can't get it. I'm telling you, it was when they be like, okay, let's go to the toy section. That's when we were like, oh, yeah. But any other time, no. Keep it moving.
Hmm.
We'll go to McDonald's. She'll get a toy from there.
That's another thing too. I this is why did we want McDonald's toys? Why do we want these toys from these
But they
chain
were
restaurants?
fun. And you would collect them all. Like they would
I
come in like an 8 series thing. You would try to get all eight. And then like I used to play and have a ball with my McDonald's
I
toys.
would say, but it was such a gamble though. Like 70% of the time, those toys were terrible. Like
I didn't
they would
care.
give for I'll say the girl toys were good because like I remember my sister got some toys and they were really cool. But then like when they get the guy toys, it's like it's supposed to be an action figure, but it's just a static thing that doesn't move. And I was like,
Um, our girl toys were too, like the Polly Pockets, like baby dolls. Like they didn't move. Their hair moved maybe, but they didn't move. And you just play with them. I loved playing. Okay, my imagination was vast, so
my
I did not
imagination was fast
complain.
too. But it was just a matter of looking back on it now, like all these action figures had all these moving parts. Then I go pay $8. Well, I ain't say pay $8. Let's say
It's not a
$3 for whatever meal, and I get this.
be happy you got something. You could go to Chick-fil-A and end up with the book.
Thank y'all again for coming to speak with us today. Listen to our conversation with Shayna. Again, check her out. Check out all the platforms. She's really doing a lot of great animation work, like seriously. So check her out. Feel free to like, share this with your family, do whatever you want to do. Just make sure you listen to the whole episode and come back and join us for the next one, okay? Bye now.